We are back. We are taking your questions here on Coast to Coast AM Open Lines Friday night. Connie Willis, and you can go find me afterwards at conniewillis.com. I'd love for you to join my shows. I have one called Blue Rock Talk, and I take you investigating with Bigfoot and Dogman and strange lights and hauntings. And it's real. It's the real deal. We are not 101. We're deep into it. And I do have until Monday a half off price. So if you go and use the coupon code half off, HALFOSF. Use that at the right when you sign off on it and put your card down. That is the coupon code. That's what you'll do is get half off. So you better do that before Monday, because there you go. Tommy D, who we're going to have on here later on, he's going to join here soon and become a blue rocker. Anyway, stay with us for more information on that and some good stories too. But ConnieWillis.com is where you want to go. All right, open lines. Let's hit them. By the way, Paul Graves, thank you once again. You were fantastic. Great stories. You're so good at telling them as well as singing them. Great tunes too. It's always fun to talk to Paul, and hard to believe it's his first time on Coast, because he's just amazing and been around for a good long time. And I'm just so happy to be able to bring him here. All right, open lines. Let's go to east of the Rockies and talk to Mark from Buffalo, New York. Mark, hi, you're on the air.
Hi, Connie. You're my favorite.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
We've talked before about the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch will see you first. And that's not the reason why I'm calling. I want to report a UFO sighting. I'm listening to you on the Mighty Flamethrower, WBEN 9:30 a.m. in beautiful Buffalo, New York.
Yay. All right.
In fact, I think the signal range goes out to like 100 miles. It's quite impressive. Here's my story. I was dating a very good-looking blonde in Orlando, Florida, living together 5 miles east of downtown Orlando by the Naval Training Center in Orlando, Florida. And we had a long guy who used to come by named Bob, and he saw a glint in the sky. And I looked up and I said, "What is that?" So I ran inside and I had this old JVC VHSC recorder, and I went ahead and videotaped this object that was a chrome egg. I videotaped it. I caught it in broad daylight on November 15th, 1995. There was a civilian jet airliner in the footage. I took it to Orange County Sheriff, and they came back. The cop came back pale as a ghost, and he says, "Mark, this is unidentified." So what I did was I transferred the VHSC to a DVD modern format, and I've got 3 copies that I made. It's quite pricey if you want to go ahead and reproduce UFO footage.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised how expensive it was. My question to you is, what do I do with the footage? How do I put it on the internet? Would you like a copy? What do I do with this? It's genuine footage that I got on November 15th, 1995. So I'm open to any ideas that you have, Connie.
Well, a lot of people have their own shows. They have their own YouTube channels. They have their own, if you do a show here on Coast to Coast, you can also send it in, not just have to be on the show, because we've got Paul's stuff up because he's on the show tonight, but you can also send it in to us, and we can, probably Tim Banal can do something with that, or our web guys can do something with your story.
Can you give me
that's the kind of stuff,
so I can get a proper mailing address? I'll be happy to mail you a copy.
Talk to Tommy D on that, and you can also find me at ConnieWillis.com. You can go there, and you can send it to me too.
To reiterate, Connie, you're my favorite.
Well, thanks so much. I appreciate that.
You do a great service to Coast to Coast. And I look forward to when you're on. I like George Knapp, too. He rules. All right, have a great night. And, give me a Tommy so I can get this address information. I will send you this. It was interdimensional.
That's really cool.
In and out. No,
yeah.
It was kind of scary, man. It was disturbing.
Really?
Cool.
It's cool now. It's cool now.
The technology is like hundreds, thousands of years. It was zipping in from somewhere else. And it was coming forward, going away, going forward, going away. And if you imagine a dime, in your finger, between your thumb and your index finger, put it toward your eye and go away. Toward your eye and go away. It was zipping in from somewhere else.
And let me tell you, I lived out there. I was at K92 FM there, and WDBO that also carried coast to coast. And I saw things there. It's just, these things are everywhere.
Why Florida has so many per capita and per square area mileage-wise, why Florida has so many sightings per capita is a real mystery. Why?
Well, you got Gulf Breeze
in Florida. Yeah,
you got Gulf Breeze,
and you just see the stuff that's going on by the Space Center. I spent 10 years
right,
at the Space Center.
That's right.
They used to follow the space shuttles up.
That's right. They did. No, you're right. Exactly.
SPS.
Yeah. Yeah, and the USOs.
That's
wait
right.
a minute. Did I say it right? Underwater.
Puerto Rico bombers and the rest of it. But there's a lot of UFO activity by the Space Center in Florida.
Yeah.
Most people are not aware of that. My mom had a nice rancher in Port St. John, and it was 10 miles west of the Space Center. And when my favorite was the heavy lift vehicle, the Titan, that was an Air Force vehicle, used to shake the house from the foundation 10 miles away. It was a beast.
I totally get. I miss being out there and being able to watch that when all that was happening with the space shuttle and all the other things. It was great to be out there to see all that happening. But no, you're exactly right. There's a ton of activity happening. And wherever you are in the state of Florida, there's a lot of little newsletters for each of the little towns and cities there, and they all have their little newsletters. And you'll see stories where people have reported stuff, but you don't end up seeing it anywhere else. And because I would always talk about this stuff. My friends would go, "Hey, did you see that just 2 blocks away from where you live, this had happened and this had happened?" So it happens. You're exactly right. So I hope that, head up with Tommy there and get it sent here, at least something we can do, but definitely me as well. That would be great. Be happy to show your stuff off. Let's go wildcard line number 2, Mary, New Jersey. Hey there, Mary. How are you? We'll go to wildcard line number 3 and talk to Ron out of Michigan. Hey there, Ron. You're on the air.
Good morning. I'm just curious, Connie. Yellowknife should be glowing red hot now in the Northwest Territory. With all the forests burning in Canada, why haven't we seen Bigfoots fleeing the area?
Well, what would your answer be? What do you think? Do you have an idea?
The one caller who said there may be extraterrestrials. Hopefully, if they are endangered, they're being picked up and recruited by Chewbaca's. But I don't know. I have no idea. Are they burning to a crisp?
I think they either live underground or, people talk about being interdimensional. So whether it's underground or interdimensional, they can just, I do not believe they actually just live on the surface with us. I don't think they just live here. That's me and my research. I think they're way too advanced to be living under trees in the elements.
Well,
they're too advanced. Yeah, right. Exactly.
I hope they survive.
I would rather them, be able to stop it before it happens. That's my question. Is bigger, in that way of, wait a minute, these are the areas that we find them. Why wouldn't they prevent these and help stop it? So I don't know. That would be my question.
More questions.
I know, right? Well, thanks a lot. You brought more questions our way, Ron.
You're welcome, Connie. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for that. Coast to Coast AM, it is open lines. It is Friday. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. And let's head out to Burbank, wildcard line number 2, Monroe. Hey there, Monroe. How are you? You're on the air.
Hey, Connie. Thank you for taking my call. Can you hear me clearly?
I can. You got a radio voice, man. You got a TV voice. Good stuff coming from you.
Maybe I can do some voiceovers for your show. Quick question for you. I'm a fan of yours. I like your personality. I like your message. But I went to your webpage. You've got a Yorkshire Terrier. Is that correct? What is the dog still alive? What's the dog's name?
No, little Peony girl passed away 2 Christmas Eves ago. On Christmas Eve.
How long did you have her?
She was probably somewhere between 14 to 16 years old.
That's so cool. My best friend had a Yorkshire Terrier. The dog's name was Peppy, and I took care of her for many years. Great, lovable dog. But my question to you is, like I said, I enjoy your show. I like your personality. I went to Area 51 about 15 years ago. Just drove up to Rachel, Nevada. Was always very curious about what happens there, and I paid some guy that lived in the town $100 and some, and he took me to this location called Kickaboo or Kickaboo something. It's the only place where you can actually see Area 51. You have to climb up this mountain region. Does that make any sense to you what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yes.
So I paid this guy. I saw Area 51. It was just like this open field in the middle of the desert where you can see these buildings. You couldn't really see anything. My thing is, there's really not a centimeter of scientific proof that any sort of alien existence exists. So there's a lot of great theories. There's a lot of conspiracies. There's a lot of people that call into your show, and they can go on and on and on for hours and hours and hours, and they can tell your audience this. But there's no conclusive proof that any of this exists. It's just all, is it called hyperbole? I don't know what the word is. I mean, have you seen proof of any sort of actual alien existence?
Well, excuse me. I've never been to Area 51. And I have seen stuff. I've absolutely seen stuff myself. But when you're in the position of seeing them, this is all from my research. Okay. This is all me. This is what I'm concluding and what I have as of right now from what you've asked. I've seen these things. I've seen, it's even hard to tell people, even when you're on coast. It's just hard because it really does affect your life. Nobody wants to hire you when you talk aliens and Bigfoot. It's usually like, oh no, it's just like, thank goodness George Norrie put together the Paranormal Date, because then you can at least talk to other people that want to talk about this kind of stuff. I think it's genius that he put that together. But I have seen these things. And when you are in the presence of either of any of these beings or things that do not exist, your mind does not think to go to the camera and get it so that they can prove it, so we can prove it to people like you that want to see it. That's not what our thought is when that occurs. It's just not. It is more of, this does not compute. What is that? It's exhilarating. It's scary. It's intimidating. It's fascinating. It's all these things at once. Like the other caller earlier was talking about when he had seen the Sasquatch out in the woods and, all the emotions that went through him. The one thing that is not happening to you is, oh, I better grab the camera and get the shot. Your eyes are pretty much glued because it's going to be gone in a heartbeat, as if you look away for the most part and then look back. And so you're never thinking about that. And is it a second science? Is it quantum science? Is it whatever it is? It certainly doesn't abide by our laws of physics, does it? But I'm no scientist, and even the scientists don't know how to measure these things. That's why they fight it and argue it. Thank goodness there are some scientists that have happened to see it that we talk to here on Coast that attempt to do something. Or, we just had Ben Lone Tree on recently with the Science in Sedona, and he's a scientist, but he is looking at things differently. Thank goodness. But I don't know, it comes down to an individual of, do I have to have proof before it's real? Do I have to have proof as a human earthling gets proof? There's a Twinkie in front of me. I know there's a Twinkie in front of me because I can feel it. I can see it. I can touch it. I can take a bite of it. But what about that Sasquatch that's in front of you? I can't measure that. I can't come back and I can tell you the story, but here's the problem. People just, because people lie so much and embellish so much, other people believe that, hey, I can't believe you with that story. I need proof. I need hair samples. I need DNA. I need blood. Oh my gosh. Those of you that are like that, go out in the woods and see it for yourself. Go look up in the sky, get off your computers. If you do that, you'll start seeing this stuff too. So, instead of everybody asking us, oh, well, we need to know, the DNA and this, that, and this, and we got to have it's not like that. When you're out there and you start seeing stuff, the last thing you want to do is be concerned about recording, especially in the Bigfoot world. You want a relationship with that. You want a relationship because that's what you can get there. Aliens, they're going to do whatever they're going to do, whether you care or not. Anything else, ghosts, you go into that kind of thing. It's not the Bigfoot is the area to go to. I have studied all of these things since I was before my first memory. And some of you all know what that first memory is, but that first memory of my life all the way through, I didn't choose to do this kind of thing. I didn't choose it. It chooses you. And if you're one of those people that sees these things and you have all your life, whether it's ghosts, aliens, the ships, the Bigfoot, the dogman, the other things that are like, you just have to describe what you see and you say it out loud because you hope that somebody else can say, I saw that too. Or eventually somebody will. And then you're like, oh, good. Because, I remember seeing that and I've never heard of that or seen that before. But those of you that want that proof and you have to have that proof, I don't know where that's coming from, except maybe you've never seen anything. So go see it yourself. Go look yourself. That's why I have the show I do. Follow along with me. That's why we have Coast to Coast here. You can listen to the stories that we all have and the encounters that other people talk about. And bottom line, it comes down to you all, those of you that are like, I need this and I need that. Well, go get it yourself. It's not an easy thing. And once you start doing it, you don't care about that. You just want the experience again. And you want to see it again. You want to feel it again. And you just want to grow and grow and grow. And once you see something, you do grow into a matter of, I don't care about a picture anymore. Holy cow, I just want to learn more. You don't care about proving it to the people that won't go out and look up in the sky themselves or go out into the woods and experience it themselves. I mean, go do it. It'll change your world. And I tell you what, one day when everybody knows the truth of all this stuff, we're going to be a different world. We're going to be earthlings. We're going to be humans and earthlings. We're not going to be a color. We're not going to be a sex. We're not going to be whatever. We're going to be one as earthlings. And that's pretty cool. But for some reason, look, if me know these things and see these things, the higher ups on this planet have to know these things, right? Because how many people call up here on Coast and talk about this stuff? So there's no doubt everybody's seeing everything. And you can tell when somebody's lying or not. You can tell when they are, especially if you've been around these things. Because even though you don't know if they're going to go left or right with what's happening in the evening or the day, there's still some consistencies that you can tell when somebody is not being straight up about it. So it's open lines. We're going to take some more phone calls when we come back. If you do ask me a question and I get off on it, something like that, it's only due to the research and what I've gone through and some of the frustrations that it's like everybody wants to have this scientific proof. Why? Who told you that? Where have you gone that you have to have scientific proof that Twinkie's there or that Bigfoot is there? Go out there into the woods and check it out yourself. Listen to us. Trust people. I know that's hard, but hopefully there's more good than bad. And we got more stories to tell, right? And more questions. Open lines continue here. Connie Willis on Coast to Coast AM. Coast to Coast AM. Connie Willis here. The last segment of Open Lines and the show tonight on Friday. Wow, it flies by. Paul Graves was with us earlier. Fantastic encounters and adventures that he's had and the different things he's gone through. He has amazing strategy, by the way, when he's out there. I mean, usually you have to be with cameras, that it's a tough thing to get pictures, and it's I do believe they know what's going on. They're not stupid. They all know what's going on. But he was able to hide one in this rock that he made. But I think it was also the fact that the Bigfoot had come up from the ravine and up to just just happenstance where that was, boom, and they got his eye. So I hope that you guys find him to where you can see the eye yourself, and you can see where Bill Munns had created the sculptor from it, and the pictures that came from it. It's just absolutely amazing. I had talked with him about that years and years ago, and you can find some of that on my older stuff on Blue Rock Talk. It's just absolutely amazing, the stuff that he's gone through. And I learned a lot from Paul along the way, because he's just very calm, very patient, and he really thinks things out, and he's right on the money with stuff. I definitely learned a lot from him, and have carried it with me throughout. So very good stuff. All right, let's go to the phone line. Sorry, kind of went off a little bit. I'm getting a lot of emails from you guys saying rock on. Thank you. And golly, even little Tommy D going, Connie, man, the passion from you. Well, there you go. There's some nice compliments. Thanks so much. So let's see what you guys got. East of the Rockies, John out of South Carolina. You are on Coast to Coast AM. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing good. I called in because back when I was about 10 years old, we'd go up and see my aunt and uncle up in Sandusky, Ohio, and you could actually see the Sputnik satellite that the Russians launched circle the moon.
You could see that?
You sure could.
Wow.
The sky was clear, it was a full moon, and it looked like a fruit can. They go around about every hour or so.
With your naked eye?
Yes, ma'am, with naked eye.
Wow. So I got to ask you, that doesn't sound like a South Carolina accent. Are you from South Carolina?
No, I'm not. But I've lived here for about 50, but I lived here about 70 years.
I knew it. Where are you from?
Well,
what's that accent?
I'm from West Virginia. But that's a hospital. But I was born up in Ohio, because the town I was born in didn't have a hospital, so we had to go across the river into West Virginia.
Okay, but where did you grow up?
Florence, South Carolina.
Okay, well, I guess it is a South Carolina accent. It sounds like something different.
It could be my cell phone.
Okay. Well, it's a compliment. It's nothing bad at all. And I thank you for calling in, John. It was a good thing. You take care, and thanks for calling in with us. Okay, so let's go to the other accent and talk to Bobby at wildcard line number 3, the Bronx. Let's hear how you're doing there. Welcome. You're on the air, Bobby.
Well, I'm doing just fine. Connie, when you said the other accent, I know you were going to the Bronx. That's for sure. And I would advise anybody out there, if you ever get into a staring contest with Sasquatch or Bigfoot, you better have a few extra boxes of Twinkies with you, and some yodels too. You want to stay on his good side or her good side or whatever, because Bigfoot is pretty big. Probably has a big appetite too. And your show is awesome. I have to say that. I mean, on the 4 train in the Bronx, I've seen plenty of aliens and plenty of creatures on those trains through the years. Actually, when I was young, we pulled into a station in the Upper Bronx, and it was the train station looked like a garbage dump. That's what it looked like. But what I'm wondering, Con, is it possible that any of these aliens are coming into the southern border right now? I mean, you could disguise yourself, or maybe you could make yourself appear as anything you want, and they're coming in here through the border, so they're being really undetected as like an alien from another planet or another universe, and they're able to mix in and get in here. I would wonder, because we have such open borders in this country, every enemy of America is in this country, but also I believe every space alien in the universe is in this country too. And from my point of view, I hope they're friendly. And but the thing is, we just have to. I really mean this, folks. You only have 2 choices: get rid of the '65 Immigration Act, or you kiss your country goodbye, because this is a great place, but it won't be no long. We cannot be overrun the way we're being overrun.
Well, thanks for calling in. Thanks for your comments. And it does spark something for me, getting back to the aliens and the Bronx. There was a time I was in New York City, and I kid you not, people people are not going to believe this one. I don't care. I know what I saw. And I took a double look. It was absolutely ridiculous, but I saw it. I kid you not. It was like a gray, and it had a Stetson, and it had a trench coat, John, Landry I was a Dallas Cowboy fan, Landry coat, and he was walking. He was right at the crosswalk in New York City, and I remember I turned and looked at it because something felt weird. And a lot of us, you guys know that empathic feeling, and you can sense things. And I remember having to turn to look at something. And come on, you're in New York. Everything's crazy there, right? Right in the city, right? So I looked over, and I kid you not, I saw sunglasses, and I was like, oh my gosh. I remember seeing it. I didn't say it out loud. I just thought, well, this is New York. And I remember walking away and from it, and I had to turn around. And when I did, and maybe I decided I wanted to turn around because I wanted to see this thing again. And I remember walking past it and just like, am I really seeing this? And as I passed it, I tried to play it off because I didn't want to get eye contact with it. Well, even though it had sunglasses, I kid you not, but I passed by it, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to turn around and look. You know how you do that. And I turned around and looked, and it turned around and looked at me too. And it was like, oh man, it knows that I saw it, and it saw me. And we just kept on going. I thought, just another day in New York City. Absolutely amazing. I kid you not. And I hope there's somebody else out there that has seen the same thing, because I would have never believed it. And I think that maybe I've told this story maybe 3 times, and you guys get part of it there. West of the Rockies, let's talk to Catherine out of Canada. Hey there, Catherine. How are you? Welcome to Coast to Coast.
Oh, thanks, Connie. I have a comment and a question. I do believe in Sasquatch, but I have to tell you, I wouldn't want to see one.
No?
Scare the heck out of me, man.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, so I believe in them. That's enough for me. And I was just wondering, do you think that they could just a test that they were doing on chimpanzees or monkeys or whatever that went crazy somehow?
Oh, wow. A lot of people ask that. Thank you for your question. I know that some people talk about some times in history that some of the leaders in other countries have put man and this together and created soldiers and things like that. I've heard about all that along the way. I'm not saying one way or the other. Who knows? There's crazier things that happen. But the ones that I've come across and experienced across the U.S., I think they're just their own species. There's different looking ones. I think they all have their own individual behaviors. They're highly advanced, and they're everywhere. The first thing that they told me, that really just kind of sums up everything, which is amazing because they kind of, when they do mind speak, it's short and sweet and to the point, just like George Norrie. He is short and sweet and to the point when he talks, and I love it. I'm always just in awe, like, wow, how did you just answer my question in 4 words? He's amazing that way, and I absolutely love that about him. Anyway, going back to the Sasquatch, whatever they are, that's why I am working with them to have communications and a relationship, because I want to know who we are, because I know that they know who we are, and they have the answers. And not only can they tell us that, but they can tell us who they are too. And so that's what all my research is about. It's not about, let me get a picture for everybody. I do have some pictures. I got stuff. And it's just amazing, you guys. I hope that you guys get into it yourselves. And I love when people are happy that cannot get into it themselves, but they're open to listening, and not always this fight and argument of, well, you need to show me that. No, I don't need to show. anything. I'm just telling you what's happening. You can listen or not. But it's just a fascinating and amazing. And if you want to argue about it because you want the DNA and stuff like that, then you are missing out on some wonderful, wonderful awakenings in your life, I guess, maybe, or it will stretch your mind. It will do that. And it's amazing. So let's go to wildcard line number 4, Ryan out of Long Island. Hey there, Ryan. How are you? Is Ryan gone here? We can hit somebody else here. Yep. Okay. Let's go to Don, wildcard line number 2, Kent, Ohio, a Buckeye. How you doing, Don?
Oh, Connie, hey, happy Sabbath. I wanted to give a shout out to Cornelius. He's right on. There is no pre-trib rapture. So I wanted to talk about zombies real quick. In the sporting goods department of Walmart, there are paper targets of zombies. Now, the ammunition manufacturer, Hornady, produced a special issue zombie round. So I thought, now, the interesting about that is in the book of Revelation, chapter 9, it says, "And in those days men shall seek death and not find it. They shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them." That, to me, describes a zombie.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Thank you so much for calling in, Don. So let me add to that, okay? Let me add to that. You're going to find this interesting. So Dr. David M. Jacobs and Bud Hopkins, they're my favorites of all with all their research. I love their research. I totally love it. And I knew them both. I got to know them. And David Jacobs, when he's still around with us, he had said at one point, when it comes to zombies, he said, zombies. Well, we've been studying these abductees for decades. And when these abductees are taken out, and I don't mean, taken, they're turned off. The aliens turn us off and on. And you're just laying there like a zombie. And he was the one that pointed that out to me. He said, the abductees are zombies. They're just turned off. The aliens do what they do, then they turn them back on. Those are the zombies. Ta-da. Interesting stuff, huh? Yeah. Well, thanks so much, everybody, being a part of Open Lines and all the phone calls. I really appreciate it. So much fun. It's always fun to be on here. I so appreciate that George Norrie invites me on here and allows me to have a great time. So Paul Graves, we had earlier, and thank you again, Paul. So much good information. Love you to death and look forward to talking to you again and hopefully going out together sometime. That would be fantastic. So thank you as well for listening. If you enjoyed the show, write in, tell us, and we always like to hear good things. That's always so nice. And I just want to thank everybody that's been a part of the show because they put together, we have a great team. So from the foothills of the Colorado Rockies, I want to thank all the people that put this show together. Julie Talbot, Bill May, Lisa Lyon, Tommy Dan Heiser, Tommy D. He's also known as Tommy D, you guys. Thank you, Tommy, for coming in. It's always fun doing work with you. Dan Galanti also taking care of me tonight, making sure I do all the right steps. Stephanie Smith, Mike Cosio, Lex Lonehood, Sean LeDessour, our web team, Tim Banal, Gina Salvati, Donna Walker, Ryan Stacy, Adam Thompson. We've got, I'm telling you, Chris Burrows, Ian Punnett, Lisa Garr, Richard Sears, Richard Seared, George Knapp. He's going to be on tomorrow night and the next night. And then, of course, the man himself, George Norrie. The Coast to Coast AM team, thanks everybody for being a part of the show tonight. And I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed the music as well. And until we meet again, you can find me at conniewillis.com. And I hope you join my show, Blue Rock Talk. If you do it before Monday, you use the coupon code HALFOFF. HALFOFF. I spelled it right. You do that and you can get half off. So until we meet again, keep watching the night skies and continue with me to seek out the strange and uncover the unknown. For Coast to Coast AM, I'm Connie Willis. And did you say we had a little bit more time? Oh, okay. All right. So guess what? I get to talk a little bit more. Thank you for letting me have the time to tell you what I think about what's out there. My research myself, it is not about getting evidence to me. I know a lot of people it is, and that's great. I'm glad there's people like that out there. And I'm glad I know my heart well enough to know that I'm not chasing after that. It's difficult. That's a chase that is very hard. And good luck to you, those of you that do it. and I'm happy that you're out there. But some of us, we just want to communicate. We just want to have an experience. And a lot of you out there are like that. And thank goodness, because we bring you on the show and we get to hear your passion too. And we get to hear the real truth of what's going on out here, because this is the biggest secrets. And our show is the one that gets to show it and tell it to the world. And I'm so happy to be a part of it. So thanks again to the Coast to Coast AM team.